Electricity Minister Dr Kgosientsho Ramokgopa has assured the country that the current bout of load shedding will be over by the end of the week. The minister said that breakdowns and capacity being offline is what has led to the high levels of load shedding making a return. And we're just trying to get hold there of Eskom spokesperson Daphne Mokwena. We had her up just trying to sort out the connection. So let's quickly remind you of our question of the day whilst we wait to get Ms. Mokwena back. So this is what we're asking you. How has the return of load shedding impacted your life? And do you feel that there will ever be a lasting solution to these blackouts? That's what we're asking you to engage us on at Morning Live SABC and of course 078-459-1897. But with that, let's get back to Eskom spokesperson Daphne Mokwena just to get the latest update on the load shedding situation. Ms. Mokwena, thanks so much for your time. Welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning, Sakina, and good morning to your viewers. And thanks for having me.
So Eskom has plunged us into stage 6 load shedding yesterday. Came as a surprise to many South Africans. So what exactly happened?
So Sakina, as you would have known that, we have, and maybe let me start by apologizing, to South Africans for plunging them into an unexpected load shedding. However, we have always been saying that, we are not out of the woods yet. As we are implementing our generation operational recovery plan, which is a 2-year plan that started in March 2023. So we are still continuing with that plan. But having seen that this plan has also yielded the desired results, I mean, we have 99% availability of our generation plants, or without, 1% probably, if you may, of load shedding with the 37 hours that we had the last and this weekend as well. So we have been doing well, and unfortunately, with the on Saturday, what we experienced is a multiple fault from Majuba power station, one of our flagship power stations that is actually performing very well. And at around just before 5, which resulted in us going to stage 3. And that evening we had another unrelated multiple fault or multiple unit fault at Camden Power Station, where we lost 4 units at Camden. So that 2 unrelated multiple and technical, unrelated multiple faults that we had landed us into stage 6. And not forgetting that by the time when we got into this stage, Sakina, we had, in the past week, we had removed which is about 800 megawatts from the grid to actually link it to the flue gas desulfurization system. And we had also removed Quebec 1 so that we can comply with our license in terms of the long-term operation. So that didn't give us enough headroom, to, absorb so many units failing at the same time.
So looking at those multiple plant failures, as you say, Ms. Mokwena, they're not related. It is of concern, of course, if you listen to the explanation being given, because Majuba and Camden have been 2 of Eskom's better performing power stations, energy availability factors, and you can correct me, of 68 and 61% respectively. So, when you look at what is being said in terms of the trip that happened so unexpectedly, and then it affects more than one plant. Is this our reality going forward, that South Africans should expect load shedding to be implemented at any time?
Yeah, I think what we have learned, and we can only take lessons from what had happened, this weekend, Sakina. Having us focusing on, the primary plant, because as those 2, as you have said, power stations are our reliable power stations. However, and the primary plant of that power station is performing very well, as I said, that a reliable plant. But we sort of had issues on the auxiliary plant, which is something now that we really need to focus on. It is part of, our part of the parts that the plant that we manage and monitor. But with the generation recovery plan, I think the focus was mostly on the primary plant, and hence they have been performing so well. So now we will also be looking at our auxiliary plant and making sure that they perform well as well, so that we avoid such surprises.
Surprise indeed. So when we talk about a trip at a Majuba power station that suddenly takes, several thousand kilowatts off the grid, are you able to explain to us in a little more detail what exactly happened and led to that particular issue?
Yeah, so what we had at Majuba is what this auxiliary plant is an electrical a fault that we had on one of the unit transformers that was connected to one of the units. And for the fact that when this transformer then tripped or overloaded, then it caused the other units to trip. Following the two that had tripped that were connected to this unit transformer. So that then caused the other three or multiple units or us losing those other three in addition, because one of the unit was out on maintenance. So basically we lost 5 of the units. And as I said, that it's an auxiliary plant. It has nothing to do with either our boilers or our mills or our turbine, but it's something, as I said, that we are looking at and will be focusing at and making sure that, in all our station, there's lessons learned and these are noted. But as I said, that, with us having still implementing the generation operational plan, I think we're still not out of the woods, Sakina. We would have once in a while need to implement load shedding if we do exceed unplanned outages beyond 13,000 megawatts, which is what we've been saying all along. It has been part of our messaging to say we are not out of the woods. We are only suspended. We have only suspended load shedding, but we haven't ended load shedding. We will come at a particular time. We are confident that once we had brought your Kusile, which is new generation, about 800 megawatts. Once we have brought Medupi Unit 4, which is also around 800 megawatts. And once Kubek Unit 1 is back, because one of the our plan was to bring back Kubek Unit 2, which we successfully in December. However, we had to, on last week on the 17th Monday, we had to take out Unit 1 just to do some refueling, and also so that we make sure that it complies with the long-term operation licensing that we have. So once we have that full 2,500 megawatts back into the grid, because that's new generation from Kusile, we've never, Unit 6 will be the first time we introducing it or connecting it or syncing it into the grid. So once we have all that, I think we'll end working with also having additional capacity from our IPPs. I think from our side as Eskom, we will be sitting at a very comfortable a stage where even such instance, if they occur, like what we had during the weekend, the system should be able to absorb that loss that we may have to experience in the future.
So how much capacity is Eskom expecting from IPPs, Ms. Mokwena?
Look, IPPs is not our, basically, I think it's about 6,000 megawatts, but I stand to be corrected. But from us, we know that we are, planning to bring back 2,500 megawatts, of which 930 was brought in December from Kubek Unit 2. So we still left with Kusile Unit 6 and Medupi Unit 4.
And just finally, the minister, spoke about this being over by the end of the week, this current bout of load shedding. Are you confident that this will indeed be the case?
Yeah, I think so far, Sakina, our teams have been working, round the clock. I mean, since Saturday, we have brought that 5 units at Majuba. They are back on as we speak. We're just ramping them up. And we also brought the 2 units from Camden. We're also ramping them up. And we're expecting the other 2 to be brought back from tomorrow onward. I mean, today and tomorrow. And then once we have that, and once even our dams, we are now comfortable at a comfortable level. The levels are they are full, and we are just also monitoring our fuel. Once our fuel is at or they are sufficiently replenished, I think we will then call off this load shedding that we are experiencing at the present moment. So we are confident based on what has been done since Saturday, our teams working around the clock, and the units that we have brought back. As I said, that the 5 units at Majuba are already back on. From the 4 that we lost at Camden, 2 is already on. So about 8 and then Medupi as well. Remember, we also lost Medupi when we lost Majuba. Medupi, actually, we returned it at around 10 o'clock on Saturday. So out of 10 that we had lost, that actually to be at this stage of load shedding or a shortage of generation, we have managed to bring 8 units back into the unit within this short space of time. And I think that is the tremendous work of the teams, ensuring that we get out of this situation as soon as possible.
We'll leave it there for this morning. Thanks so much, Daphne Mokwena, Eskom spokesperson.